One of the most common questions I get asked is whether or not someone should invest in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. The short answer is, yeah, sure, if you want to, but just understand what you're investing in. You're not investing in the future of money. You're not investing in the thing that's going to save you when the dollar collapses because fiat currency is all of a scam and it's all a Ponzi scheme. You're not investing in really much of anything more than a collector's item, which can be fine. Collector's items can do very well. You know, Rolexes do very well at holding value. Art appreciates. All sorts of assets, all sorts of asset classes can appreciate over time. And Bitcoin and Ethereum and these guys are no different. These are great collector's items that a lot of people believe in, and they continue to increase in value, and that makes for a pretty decent asset class. What it doesn't make for is a good currency. Bitcoin is not a good currency. Let's think about it. What makes a currency a good currency? Well, first is stable prices. If you're going to sell goods and sell services, you want to know that the thing that you're exchanging those goods and services for is going to be able to buy you something more, like some similar value of goods and services in the future. So you really just want prices to be stable. You're not looking for it to appreciate really or depreciate too quickly. You just want it to kind of hold that line. Read an economics book. Trust me on what I'm saying there. And Bitcoin is not stable. You don't want to get paid in that. That's not something you want sitting in your bank account. It's also not that useful. It's not widely accepted. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, I can use Bitcoin just as well as cash. No, you can't. No, you can't. Most of these places that you can go and use Bitcoin, what you're essentially doing is exchanging that Bitcoin for dollars. Exchange the Bitcoin for dollars and then spending the dollars, because businesses accept dollars, at least in the United States. And the exchange of Bitcoin for dollars is not a free transaction. You're going to pay an exchange fee, I should say, in order to make that exchange. And so how is that any easier or better than simply carrying dollars? And so people also make this point that, well, you know, Bitcoin is becoming more widely accepted, more widely adopted. It's been around for 20 years. Nobody uses Bitcoin. Very, very few people use it. I'm not talking about own it. A lot of people own it. Very few people use it. The only real utility of Bitcoin and all these cryptos is a method of transfer for criminals and thieves. You know, people talk about the US dollars on its last legs and fiat currency is all a scam. Okay, let it continue to be a scam. At the end of the day, the US government, the US government accepts US dollars. It has the most powerful military in the world, whose one of its purposes is to make sure that the US dollar continues to be accepted. They have a monopoly on violence, and they can come and take your property and take your freedom if you don't settle their tax bill in US dollars. The currency itself is backed by the sum total goods and services and GDP of the country. What is Bitcoin backed by? Oh, they're not making any more. So what? They're not making any more Beanie Babies either. Are they valuable now? So what that they're not making any more Bitcoin? That doesn't make it a more valuable currency. That doesn't make it more useful. What makes a currency useful is that it's accepted, that it's stable, and that it can keep you out of jail because you can pay your taxes in it. That's what makes a currency useful. Bitcoin is not useful. So again, you know, it's a great collector's item. Own it if you want to own it. I own some myself. But for me, I prefer productive assets. I prefer assets that have a profit motive, whose responsibility it is to continue to make as much profit as they can and then return some of that profit to me, the shareholder. There's a reason why Warren Buffett never invested in gold. He said, why would I pay money to go dig a metal out of the ground only to go build a vault underground and go store that same metal there? Bitcoin's not much different. Why am I paying money for a bunch of computers to generate or create or find this coin only for that coin to sit around in some wallet? It's not productive. It doesn't generate any additional money. It's not a company. It's not real estate that can generate rents or that you can plant crops on and create a dividend, create a revenue source over the years. It's just a store of value. It's just a piece of art. It's just a Rolex watch. It's just whatever. It's going to be valuable because there are going to be other people who are willing to pay more than you did for their share until one day maybe it's not valuable anymore. I could absolutely see a scenario where crypto goes to zero in our lifetimes. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. It wouldn't surprise many observers. And guess what? The world will continue to turn and life will continue to go on because nothing's really based on crypto because it's kind of useless. It's a collector's item. Different for stable coins. That's a different conversation. Bitcoin itself, though, Ethereum, all these guys, but just understand what you're owning. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Do you guys agree? Am I out of my skis here or am I talking the truth? Let me know what you think in the comments.